This week we're diving into the kitchen, so come along with me as we make some delicious meals. Today I'm going to make for you steak, broccoli, and grapefruit. It's a great healthy dinner. You can add in carbs if you want, brown rice, white rice, pasta, anything you're feeling up to. For me, I'm going to skip the carbs on this one, but I'm still going to make it a great meal, and I hope you enjoy and cook along with me. I'm going to give you all the tips I use, and just come into the kitchen and let's get cooking.
Thank you for joining me in my kitchen today. We are going to make steak, broccoli, and grapefruit. I'm going to kind of show you guys what I do in the kitchen. That looks so good. Let's dive in. So the first thing I like to do is go ahead and get the steak going, put it on a plate. I like to get the seasoning, that's where I like to start. This is a nice coconut spray. If you want to get a little healthier, not use butter or oil, you can go ahead and just spray this on instead. It'll help the spices to stick without adding too much fat to your overall steak, but however you like it. Salt and pepper is really good to start with. Some people like to just stay with the salt and pepper, make it really simple. That's totally fine. I am a seasoning junkie. I love seasoning. It packs such a punch sometimes if you do it correctly and don't overwhelm the food. But either way you do it, you'll like it. And just use a pinch of each. That's all you really need if you're going to do salt and pepper. Maybe a little extra. This is one of my favorite seasoning salts. It's a steak seasoning. It does have salt in it. You can get some without if you prefer to do it a little healthier, but it's really good on all kinds of steak, chicken, eggs, anything you want. So we're going to definitely add some of that. And again, a good healthy pinch is what you want. Make sure to cover the whole thing. For me, I'm going to do a little extra of this, but I'm going to go easier on the other salts since this does have salt in it. And again, you can totally get steak seasonings without salt. Just check out your labels, make sure you're getting what you need. Now what I'm going to do is, or what I've done, is added a little bit of onion powder, as well as I'm going to now add some garlic powder. The thing with these again is that you don't want these to have salt in them because you're already using a lot, depending on what you've already added, regular salt or steak seasoning that has it in there. As cumin is one of my favorite things. I like to sprinkle a little bit on. I like a little more than most, but you want to be a little sparingly to begin with because it is a strong spice. Garlic salt, you gotta have garlic salt. I add this one, but because it's salt, you want to be careful, not add too much. Now normally you can totally mix this in with your hands, get in there, but I just, for peace of mind, just using a spoon today. Just make sure it's really good in there, don't poke it too much. And then we'll go ahead and flip it over and get going on the other side. This I'm going to do a little faster just so you guys aren't too bored. It'll kind of be more like a movie, so I'm just so you guys know as you're watching the little movie as I finish seasoning the other side. And don't forget, you're also going to want to do the edges so you get that nice fat cap all seasoned up as well, unless you trim it off. Totally an option if you want to stick to the healthier. But another thing that I want to say is, I'm sorry I'm doing a voiceover, but I had some technical difficulties with sound, so this is how I'm doing it this week. I hope you guys enjoy. It's a little different, but I'm also doing the cooking, which is different, and so excited for you guys to join me in my kitchen. As you can see here, I'm totally getting the outside because that'll get a really nice crust, and if you cook it on a high grill, so good. So you can see it's all seasoned and ready to go. And now we're going to take this baby and put it on the grill. But before I do, one, you want to make sure you spray your grill. And then two, you also want to kind of put your hand around it and see where the hottest spot on the grill is. So that way you're getting the most heat right away, seared in, and really gives you that flavor at the end. When you're all finished and ready to eat, it's going to be so good. And personally, I like to not move my steak too much. If you want to, get those grill marks, you can totally do a little turn after about halfway through on one side. For me, I kind of like to not touch it too much. But either way you do it, it'll be really delicious. So since I don't want to mess with it too much and I really want it to get that good flavoring, I'm going to leave it there for a little bit longer than I will the other side. Alright, now it's time to get started on our onion while our steak is cooking up on its one side. If you don't want to leave your grill, totally understandable. If you have someone you're cooking with, you can have one do one thing and one do the other, or you can even do this on your grill side. Grilling the onions right on the grill actually adds so much flavor. It's delicious. But I want to do just a little bit of butter as I cook them up in the saute pan, and as well as a little garlic salt, as well as some of that delicious steak seasoning. As I said, I like to put it on everything. So I'm going to chop this up. I don't really need too much because it's just me and Tim. So what I'm going to do is just cut it in half. Well, I'm actually going to cut it into fourth. And just cut some nice string, like, I don't know the proper terms, guys, I'm sorry. It might be, I think, julienne, but I don't even know if that's correct, but I think it's julienne style. You just want them to be long strings, kind of like half an onion ring. And what you're going to do is, once you've got it all cut up, make sure you get the skin off, and you cut it long ways. Really make sure you're cutting correctly. As you can see here, my left hand my fingers should be curled in. I shouldn't have them flat like that. So just take caution when you're cutting and do those nice little rings, and it's going to cook up right on top of your steak so deliciously. It adds flavor without a lot of fat. We do want to use a little bit of butter, but not too much, because again, you're trying to be healthier. Just add that on there, about a quarter or about a quarter tablespoon. Get that going. Oh, it's going to be really good. You want to get about a medium high heat just to get that butter melting, and you don't want to add your onions till it's nice and melted. So grab a spatula and kind of move it around a little bit. Whatever tool you like. If you want a wooden spoon, that's fine too. But it's going to add a really nice crispy onion for you. It's going to be so good. Oh, I'm excited. Actually, let me tell you, it was delicious. Those are my favorite part. I can eat them by themselves. It's like a onion ring without the extra. A little healthier. Yes, it takes a little bit of time for that butter to melt. Alright. We are melted and looking good. You can give it a little nice swivel to make sure it's moving all around the pan. Add those onions. Get them nice and broken up. You don't want any sticking together because it'll make clumps. But I'm telling you guys, add this to your steak. It's going to be like an extra little delight without a lot of calories or fat. Just a little bit of butter, but you're cooking some of it off. So as far as I'm concerned, it evens out. But it's like an onion ring. It's so delicious. I can't get over it. And you just want to give it a nice stir, mix it around there. You definitely want to get that butter, through every piece so that they all kind of cook evenly, and that's why you really want to get the same size as well, because that'll help with the even cook overall. And it's going to be so good. You definitely want to see if you can hear that sound, because you need the sizzle. Once you got a good sizzle, make sure it's going probably about 1 or 2 minutes in. Then you can start to add your seasonings once they've gotten a little bit soft, because you don't want to add it right away. It won't kind of adhere as really well. So what I like to do is kind of let them simmer down a little bit, get a little soft, and then I add in my garlic salt as well as my steak seasoning, because as I said, add it to everything. It's like that one hot sauce where they put that shit on everything. But again, that's not my slogan. That is whatever hot sauce brand that is, which I think it's Frank's, which is a very good hot sauce, by the way. But again, not my slogan. Their slogan. Just making that clear. Alright, so give this a really good stir. Get it going. Once you've added those seasonings, now you want to have this heat between a low to medium and just let it simmer. Let it do its thing. Don't mess with it too much, but do give it a stir every so often so you don't get any over crispy parts. Because you do want it to be a little bit fried in that butter and really like caramelized, but without the sugar. You just don't want to overdo it, because then it's going to taste burnt and not add yumminess to your steak. Instead, add a lovely flavor of, no, I don't think so. So keep an eye on your onions, but do let them have some time to get in there and simmer. While they're doing that, you can also start your broccoli. Now, I'm not going to finish my broccoli until after the steak, but for now, go ahead and get a strainer. And anyone you want, doesn't matter on size, just as long as it's going to be enough for your broccoli. Throw some in there. Again, it's just me and Tim, so I don't need too much, but I want a good amount so that we can both, we're not doing a carb, so this is going to be the heart of our meal, other than the steak. It's going to be broccoli, steak, and grapefruit. You could totally add your own kind of carb, rice, pasta, whatever you feel you want. Rice is a better option to keep it healthier, but again, you can add a carb, no problem at all. For us, I'm just trying to keep it light. You definitely want to mix the broccoli. The reason I showed the onion before is because I kind of went back and forth as I'm doing my broccoli. I'm checking my onions. But as you can see, you can take a little time to really get in there and wash those broccoli. Even if they came out of a bag, it is better to wash it. You don't want to take any chances, especially nowadays. Vegetables, everything keeps getting recalled. So wash, wash, wash. Just better for everybody. And it'll be tastier too. And then I go back to the onions. Now you can see they've really started to get that golden brown color, which is totally what you want. And they're going to be soft, but still crispy. Like when I say soft, I just mean they're not going to be that like raw crunch, but they are going to be a really nice crunch. Now back to our steak. As you can see here, it's gotten a nice edge on it. Like the thicker it is, the more higher up that you want that to go. But as you can see, it's gone about halfway up, if not a little bit more, like 3/4 of the way up the steak. So it's definitely time to turn it around. As well as to note that those flames down there are actually really good for your steak as well, because they caramelize that edge, they caramelize that fat. So I really like to let that sit sometimes. You don't want to overdo it because you don't want to burn steak, but definitely every now and then let those flames come up. Let them get a hold of that fat and really crisp it up, because it'll taste so much better if you are going to eat it. Again, health-wise, you might want to cut it off and trim it. If you can see as I flipped it, that caramelized part right there, it looks a little burnt, but trust me, it's not. It is so good for your steak. If you've got that fatty edge, it'll just cook it down a little bit more and make it melt like butter in your mouth. It is so freaking good. You're going to love it, I'm telling you. And you can see the nice whole thing has gotten a nice sear on it. I didn't really do the 45-degree angle change, but you're welcome to do so. I think we have pretty good grill marks just as is. One of the other tips I like to do is when the flames come up and they're a little too high, once I've already seared the spice on, then I can either add beer or your marinade, and then just kind of take some of those flames out with that. That way you're not putting water on your steak, but more flavor. And it'll add so much. Another thing is, for temp-wise, I kind of use my hand. The more meatier part that I'm touching right now is more of the medium well. And then as you slide to your left, you're going to get more of the medium, and then as your kind of intake of your finger, that's the more medium rare, and then the soft part inside your thumb is the rare. So you can just kind of follow it around, and that'll give you your temperatures. Ooh, look at good. As you can see me press it right now, it is a perfect medium rare. So good, so good. Loving it. Another thing too is if you do have a thicker steak, you might want to leave that hood up. Or actually put your hood down, so it'll cook it a little bit more and not overcook your steak. As you can see, when you lift it up, you do want it to have a little bit of movement, because you still want that medium rare. If you want it less, if you want it more cooked, then you want less of a bow in it when you pick it up. And then don't forget your sides, guys. You gotta grill the side and the fat. It will make such a difference in your steak. But be careful on your timing, because as you're doing the side, as you're cooking the fat off, it is going to add to the overall cook time and make that baby get a lot more temperature up. So keep an eye on it. Don't overcook your steak unless you like it way overcooked. But as you can see there, it's got good flavor. It's good and done. And moving it onto the plate. Just look at that glisten. It's so good, guys. Take care in your steak, love your steak, and it'll love you back and give you so much good flavor. It's just, you just want that nice crispy outer edge and then that little bit of marinade to top it off. So good. You can even top it with some butter. Back to our broccoli. You want a nice roaring bubble. This is when we're going to finally add our butter in before our broccoli. Again, you want a good, like I'd say, couple tablespoons, and then stick that in so that it could cook off as you're cooking your broccoli, and then you don't need to add any at the end. And I also like to add a little salt and pepper, whatever seasonings you want. Again, I do it before I add the broccoli so that I'm seasoning the water itself, and it'll cook into the broccoli a little bit better. Toss all your broccoli in and just give it a quick little stir. You can kind of see it's more of a lime green color. When it's done, it'll be more of a bright green color. So go ahead and give it a stir and then let it sit in that butter and the seasonings and just kind of marinate in and add that flavor as while it's steaming. And then it's less you have to add in at the end and more healthier overall, I feel. Which is what I'm trying to do with these more balanced meals. As you can see, it's been a couple minutes and the color is much more dark green. You want to take a fork and push it through. If you can go through with ease, then your broccoli is ready. Once it's all ready to go, all you have to do is strain it. If you don't want to make a whole mess, grab a bowl, take the bowl over to you, get a slotted spoon like I'm doing here, and just add in your broccoli. Trust me, it saves time and dishes, because don't want a lot of dishes. And again, I'm doing this kind of fast because, it's not super fun to watch me sit there and, strain a bunch of vegetables for like half an hour. So move the time up a little bit. And I made it like an old movie for you guys. Hope you're enjoying. And here is our finished product. So as you can see, the onions are right on top. Down in the corner, I have added the original ingredients. There's also some lime and lemon, which I either add the zest or the juice from the lemon and the orange and lime. So good.
Hey everybody, I'm stepping away from the kitchen real quick because I just wanted to reiterate my point earlier that citrus is so good for steak. A little lime zest, lemon zest, orange zest even. Combine them, do them one on their own, add some butter to it. It adds so much to the steak. I mean, flavor central, especially if you pair it with the right spices. I'm telling you, you can't go wrong. Use it on poultry, use it on turkey for Thanksgiving, anything you want. Mix it with a little butter. If you want to skip those calories, just do the citrus. I'm telling you, it'll add so much to your marinade. If you have a favorite marinade already, add some zest to it. It might just add some little extra pop. It's really good. Trust me, you will love the citrus. Especially if you marinate the steak for a couple days. Oh my God, so good. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of good options out there marinade-wise. There's all kinds of healthy things. But I'm telling you, if you like citrus, that adds so much flavor. And the grapefruit, I didn't really show a lot with it today, but all you need to do is stick it in the fridge the entire time you're cooking, or even earlier in the day, so it has all day long to just really chill out. It'll make those juices just so much better because they're all cold and so good. Trust me, I'm saying that a lot, but when it comes to food, I didn't get this belly for no reason. I may not be an expert chef or, I didn't go to any culinary school, but I love to cook. My fiance, Tim, he loves to cook too. We always love to cook together. And like I said, I got all this because of a reason. So I'm trying to make them healthier, trying to dial it back, but play with seasonings, play with marinades, do what you want to make it good. An extra little tip for steak, whatever you do, if you're doing inches like me where you're using a measuring tape, don't worry about it because you're not going to do it every day. Scale, especially for those of you out there who really like to check it every day or it gives you that motivation, skip the scale the day after steak day. I'm doing you a favor. You don't want it. After steak day, it's going to sit a little heavier on you. Just heavier meals do that. It is good to have in your diet. It's okay as long as you have a 3 to 4 ounce piece. That piece, Tim and I were both sharing, so it makes it a little easier. So if you have someone or a roommate or a buddy that you want to come over, or just cut it in half and have half for dinner and half for lunch, like 2 different days, whatever you want, awesome. Just don't weigh yourself the next day, because you ain't gonna like it. It's just a bit heavy. But it doesn't mean that you've failed or that you're not committed, because it's okay to eat steak. You just want to be careful how you cook it, and don't weigh yourself the next day. Skip that day. It's a, hey, who cares day. Because you shouldn't care what that scale says anyway, just as long as you feel beautiful, that moment you feel beautiful, no matter what size that is. When you look in the mirror, you're like, ah, damn. That's how you know you're at that point you should be. Okay, I also want to say something about desserts and breakfast. So many of these things can go either way. So fruit, great for dessert, great for snack time, great for breakfast. Pair it with a piece of toast and 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. You've got a good healthy breakfast, like a small apple, banana, grapes, oranges, pears, plums, whatever you like, do it up. Yogurt. I love strawberry yogurt, but maybe you like plain or raspberry. It doesn't matter. You can do it for dessert or breakfast. Add a little granola, add some fruit in there. So delicious. Love it. Yogurt is so good. Totally dessert or breakfast worthy. Doesn't even matter. Sometimes I'll do really simple breakfast so I can get more calories later, but you want to make sure that you are getting at least 3 meals a day and even a couple snacks in there. Just make sure they're healthy options. That's what I'm doing. I just wanted to share that with you guys this week. Thank you for joining me in my kitchen. I so appreciate you being here. I hope that you got a meal that you may want to try or just enjoyed cooking with me. And I'm definitely going to do this again. I have other meals that I want to show you that I cook. I do a really good shepherd's pie. Now, normally it is so bad for you. I mean, as far as like heavy dinners go. But I'm going to lighten it up and show you guys how I turn something that can be really kind of heavy into a really good, nutritious dinner for you. With a few extra little extras, so you want to save some of those dinner calories, but it will be very yummy and healthy. 2 bonuses, because like I said in the beginning of this all, I like food, and so it's really hard for me to teach myself to eat those healthy things that quite honestly taste like crap, and I don't want to eat those crappy things, because I did not get heavy because I was into eating all the quinoa. I hate quinoa. I'm never going to like quinoa, so I'm not going to cook with it. But maybe you do like quinoa. Then cook with it. Invent things with it. Be creative. That's the fun of cooking. That's the joy of it all, is that you can create whatever you want. It's like your own artistic workshop in there. So go in your kitchen, play with ideas, play with things you like. It doesn't have to be, I gotta eat healthy food. I don't wanna. Enjoy yourself. Find those things that you like that are healthy, the way that we're doing this whole thing. If you're following along with me, it's just about, sorry if I was angled there too slightly, it's just about you being happy and finding that way to your better self without driving yourself nuts. Because we don't all just want to eat crappy, healthy foods that are like totally devoid of any good flavor, because it'll help us lose weight. I want to get there, I want to be healthier, but I don't want to deprive myself either. It's not the way of it for me. If you're out there, you're just like me, or you have your own way to do it, that's fine too. Share with me. I love it when you guys post below, so please post below. I really want to get into this community, of this channel, and build something together so that we are really working towards a goal and helping one another through strong support. And, just somebody else going through the and the yay. So thank you again for joining me in my kitchen, and I will see you guys next week. First of all, these onions are like crispy, delicious. Enjoy.